Chapter 26. Yami was on his way out of the stadium when Rias called out to him. He turned to her and said, "What?" She smiled before saying, "I just want to thank you for the help." He looked at her before saying, "No problem. I was just doing my job." I smiled watching all this happen while seating with Isabella. Isabella turned to look at me before saying, "Do you know the person that helped Rias out?" "Me? I do, Isabel." "How me?" "I'm his boss, Isabella." "Where are you staying for the night?" "Me? I will be staying in the Gremory household." "Why do you ask?" "Isabella, you won't mind me accompanying you tonight?" I looked at her before smiling and said, "I don't mind." I took her hand and said, "But first we have to go and enjoy ourselves at the party." We both left the stadium and went to where the party was being left, and when we got there, the guys were already waiting for me with Yami. I told Isabella to give me a moment before walking towards the guys, but I was stopped when Isabella said, "Aren't you going to introduce me to them?" I looked at her and said, "Why would I do that?" She huffed and said, "Nothing. Do what you want," while I was walking to guys. I thought about the conversation with Isabella and how she was acting. I hope she doesn't think she about to become my woman. I pushed that thought aside when I got to the guys before looking at Yami and said, "You did great." He smirked and said, "Of course. It was the great me doing it." I laughed before saying, "I felt you were in a hurry during the match." He laughed while scratching his head before saying, "I just wanted to get the job done and join you guys." I looked at him before turning to the other guys and, "If any of you get a girl pregnant after this party, I will kill you and the girl before she gives birth." To them, they nodded nervously before I said to them to go on and enjoy the party. I went back to Isabella and said, "Sorry I kept you waiting." She was about to respond back when we heard someone shouting. I looked over to see who was shouting, and it was Riser with his dad standing in front of Yami. Riser and her team? I got closer to know what the problem was when I heard Riser screaming at Rias that she cheated at the game. "Rias, what do you mean I cheated, Riser?" "Riser, he wasn't part of your peerage, so why did you let him fight for you?" he said while pointing at Yami. Yami, "Hey man, you said it was cool when I told you about it at the stadium." Riser, I changed my mind. What can you do about it?" Yami, "Not cool, man." Riser's father, "Young man, we can't let you disgrace our Phoenix family like that and get away with it." Rias, "I was the one who hired him to help me out with the game, so you shouldn't blame him." Riser's father, "Hired him? I don't care what you did, but he will have to die to clear our Phoenix face, and you must get married to Riser today." That was the meaning of the whole party. He flared his flaming magic aura when he said that, and everyone started back off before someone spoke out and said, "You plan on killing one of my own just to clear your family name," I said while walking in front of Riser's father's face. Riser screams when he saw me and said, "It's you." I smiled at him and said, "We meet again, boy." Riser father calmed his flaring magic energy before looking at his son and said, "You know him, Riser?" "I do, father. I saw him in the human world when I went to see Rias." "Me? Why are you causing a problem for one of my own?" Riser, "Who?" "You mean him," he said pointing at Yami. "Me? Yes, him." Riser, "Wait, so you are his boss?" "Me? Yeah. So why are you making things hard for him?" Riser smiled when he heard that before looking at his dad and said, "Father, why don't you kill both of them right now to clear our family name?" Riser's father, "So you are the boss of the one who humiliated us?" "Me? I believe he was just doing his job to ensure the customer's happiness." Riser's father, Maybe next time you should look more into who you were taking a mission against because you messed with wrong people this time." I raised my eyebrow when he said that and said, "What do you plan on doing then?" He laughed before saying, "I will kill you and him with everyone associated to show that you shouldn't mess with the Phoenix family." I flared my maximum aura for the first time, shaking the whole place with the sound of people falling on the floor while walking in front of him and said, "Can you say that one more time?" I focused my aura on both Riser's and his dad. Riser passed out screaming while his father peed himself when I was in front of him before kneeling down and said, "Please don't kill me. I will do anything. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me." I was really pissed off when he threatened me but cooled down after seeing how he peed himself and now kowtowing in front of me. I looked around to see how I affected everything with just releasing my aura. Only a few were standing while the rest was on the floor. I pulled my aura back before looking down at Riser's father and said, "You are lucky I don't want to start anything with the devils now. If not, I would have let my pet devour you." When I said that, a huge teeth enough to swallow him came out of my shadow before returning back to normal, and that was the last straw for him before he passed out. Chapter 27. After that whole drama, I took a deep breath before turning back to the others with a big smile on my smile and said, "They just ruined the whole party for everyone. So I would like to go home now, Rias." "Of course we can go whenever you want." "Me? No need to be that scared. He just crossed a line he shouldn't have." "Issei, please remind me whenever I am about to cross that line." I laughed when he said that, but everyone was glaring at him. I walked past them before walking up to Isabella, who was finding it hard to stand, before offering her a hand. She took my hand shakily and said, "You are quite something, aren't you?" "Me? Yes, I am. But that wouldn't stop you from being my company tonight, would it?" Isabella. Of course not. It would be my honor to court someone of your caliber. We were having our small talk when Aquino walked up to us and said to me, "Who is she?" while glaring at Isabella. Me? She is Isabella, a new friend I made from the party. Aquino. Nice to meet you, Isabella. Isabella. Nice to meet you too. Aquino turned to me and said, "I heard you saying that she will be accompanying you tonight. What does that mean?" I turned to her and said, "Exactly what it sounds like, a young lady." Before she could say something back, Rias said, "The carriage is here." Isabella took my hand before smiling at Aquino and said, "It's time to go." We all went to our different carriage with me and Isabella getting one ourselves. When we got to the mansion, Rias' brother was standing in front, if there to welcome us back. Surzex, welcome back everyone. I am sorry I wasn't there to congratulate you guys after you won the party. Rias, it's okay brother. You should be thanking Yami instead. Yami, as I said, I was just doing my job. I will be getting my reward tonight with this beautiful girl beside me. Yami and others each have a girl they picked to accompany them, while Shiro actually had two with him. I shook my head seeing how Yami was acting. I looked at Surzex before saying, "Can we postpone our meeting till tomorrow because I got a company I don't want to keep waiting." I gestured at Isabella while saying. Surzex looked at me with a knowing look before nodding and said, "Tomorrow then." I looked at Isabella and said, "Shall we?" We both walked into the mansion. Aquino POV. As I watched the man that I was starting to like walk away with another woman, while not even glancing at me or consider asking if it was okay with me, I started crying. I wanted to stop them, but I know he won't listen and would be angry instead because that is the type of person he is. He hates being questioned about his actions, especially when someone is weaker than him. I was getting really angry at him because after he played and kissed me, he still had the guts to let another woman accompany him in my presence without even feeling remorse. I couldn't do anything but watch them go into the mansion without even turning around to take a look at my face. I have never wished to be strong as much as I did right now because if I had the strength, I could walk up to him while looking him in the eyes and say, "Any woman other than me will be the end of you and me because I will kill you before killing myself," and I know he will respect my choice since I have the strength to stand in front of him. But I can't since I am weak, but that will change from now if I want to keep him to myself. Chapter 28. I could feel Aquino eyes one, but I didn't care. Tonight I will be paying full attention to the woman beside me. We both walked into the room I got before Isabella grabbed my tie and started kissing me. We both kissed for a while before she said, "Isabella, are you sure this won't change anything between you two?" Me? Who? Isabella, the girl that was eyeing us. Me? No, it won't, Isabella. Are you sure? Me? You talk too much. After saying that, I choked her not painfully before pinning her to the wall and started kissing her while slowing taking her clothes off. After undressing her, I admired her perfectness before laying her down while sliding my fingers in to make sure she's ready for what she about to get. The whole night you could hear moans from all the guest room in this mansion. I guess I wasn't the only busy one. I woke up the next morning to see Isabella laying on my chest, tiredly causing me to smile. I took her off my chest before walking to the bedroom to take a bath since it was uncomfortable with the whole stickiness. While I was bathing, I could hear Isabella waking up before coming to the bathroom where I was and said, "Isabella, you should have woken me up." Me? You look tired. Isabella, want to go another round before going downstairs to eat? We both walked out of the bathroom all steamy before getting dressed up. I looked at her and said, "What do you plan on doing after breakfast, Isabella?" "I will be going back home." Me? Okay then. Isabella, won't you miss me? Me? Not as much as you would think. Isabella, so that means I will be coming here a lot to make sure I leave a long impression on you. Me? I won't be staying here long. Isabella, when will you be leaving? Me? In 1 week. Isabella, that's enough for me then. We walked into the huge dining room while talking. Everyone was already down there, and it seems that they were waiting for us. Surzex, we were waiting for you before starting. Me? I hope we didn't take too long. Surzex, it wasn't a lot. I and Isabella both our seats before everyone started eating. I could feel Aquino eyes boring into me the meal trying to get my attention to her, but I pushed it off as her being childish. After eating I looked at Surzex and said, "What was it you wanted to talk about yesterday?" He stood before beckoning me to follow him and I did. Surzex, I heard what happened during the party. Me? And Surzex, you gathered quite the attention since showing your power level of Satan level almost close to being the God's level. Me? Get to the point. Surzex, the whole factions want to know what you are, but they can't get anything, so they are quite anxious since you are an anomaly to everyone. Me? I don't see any reason for them to be anxious because I don't plan on doing anything or hurt any of them. Surzex, that is what they want to hear. They want to put an end to you since you are an unknown to them. That means they have nothing against you. They want to put an end to you before you can get to a higher level where they can't doing anything. Me? I am looking forward to seeing how they will do that, but the important thing to me now, does any of this stop you from giving me the payment for the job? I said that while releasing my aura, but calmed down when he took out Ruby. Said, everything you want is in there. I took the ruby from him and said, how do I use this? He said to just put it on my head so that it can activate. I did as he said before the ruby flashed a light and started transferring every knowledge about magic and magic circle. It took a while to digest everything before I looked at Sirzex and said, it was nice doing business with you, Sirzex. It was the least I could do for someone who helped my sister. Me, did you tell the faction about what I do as a job, Sirzex? I did. And some thought it was a good idea, so I think you will be a lot of customers soon. Me, good, but I guess that there were some that were against it. Sirzex, a lot of them at that, because of the fact you take a job from everyone in every race. They will only accept it if you only work for them. Me, I will take care of that when the time comes, but do you want to have a spar with me, Sirzex? There aren't a lot of people that can put up a challenge at my level. Sirzex, I would like that. Can I ask how old you are? Me, 16. Sirzex, what? Sirzex POV. He said that he was 16 and already this powerful. Maybe the factions were right about being anxious. He was even fazed when I told him that the factions were planning against him. Is he that confident on his strength? I will use this chance when we are sparring to see how strong he is to be that confident. Sirzex POV ends. Chapter 29. We both went to the underground stadium when Sirzex said, how do you want to spar? I looked at him weird before saying, like how you normally spar. Sirzex, I mean, is it only hand-to-hand combat, or should we fight with magic? Me, I don't know how to use magic, but you can use magic if you want. I want to see how much damage I can take from magic, was what I thought to myself while saying that. Sirzex, surprised you don't know how to use magic, but you should learn it, quite useful. Me, I will, but can we start now? Sirzex, okay then. We both to our stance. I was in a boxer position while he was more like a martial artist. I smiled and said, get ready. He smiled too and said, come on. I disappeared from his view while appearing with a kick in front of his face. He was startled but was able to put up a magic shield while crossing his arm to block it, but I still got through the shield, so he took it with his hands while getting pushed back from the force. He grunted after he took the kick and looked at his mangled arm before looking at me and said, I guess it was a bad idea wanting to compete with strength. I shrugged but leaned back immediately because of a huge fireball he fired at my face. He didn't give me time to get myself back together before using his destructive magic, but from the energy signal, it was only of the ultimate level. I could have dodged it, but I let it hit me to see how it affected me, but the result was only a burnt mark which healed instantly. I smirked before rushing up to him while he was still stunned and sent a jab to his chin, but he diverted it, wanting to use the force against me, but he couldn't move me. I kicked him and sent him flying. I wanted to follow up, but was attacked by a spear made of destructive energy. I dodged but was attacked by another one. I see him smiling before I sped up while dodging all the attacks he was sending, which caused quite an explosion. We spared for a long time before stopping. I picked up the towel lying around the corner to clean off my sweat while thinking to myself, it's been a long time I have sweated like this, even though we weren't serious, but it was quite fun. I looked at Sirzex, who wasn't sweating as much as I was but looked tired, before saying, we should do this every day while I am here, Sirzex. Yeah, we should. It's been a while since I have used up this much energy. Me, great. You can also help me with the magic practice then. We both walked out of the stadium while I was thinking back to the fight. I was much stronger than him physically, but he has more magic energy, and he was more versatile with all the magic techniques he got, but I didn't use Senjutsu or Aura when we were fighting, so I don't know who is much stronger now. Sirzex POV. What a 16-year-old monster. I wasn't even his match when it comes to strength. I was only able to keep up when I used magic. I made sure the only amount of magic energy I used was only at the ultimate and Satan level, but it barely affects him with his monstrous healing ability. The only advantage I have is that I am a super devil and have more experience than him. I wanted him to use that energy his subordinate used during the fight with Riser to see what is different and unique about it, but he was only fighting physically without using any type of energy. I should warn the faction not to go pick a fight with him, even though I'm sure not all of them will listen to it will minimize the casualties we will get. Sirzex POV ends. Chapter 30. When we both came out of the stadium, everyone was staring at us anxiously before Rias spoke up and said, Rias, brother, is everything all right? Sirzex, yes. Why do you ask? Issei, we heard a lot of explosions after you guys left, so we thought something was up. Sirzex, ha ha ha, oh, we were just sparing, it is nothing to worry about. I intervened and said, why isn't Isabella with you guys? Issei looked at me before saying, she left. I nodded and started walking up to my room to take a bath, but Issei didn't allow me and said, Issei, hey man, why are you so lucky? Me? Huh? Issei, you got to sleep with that beautiful girl yesterday and nothing for me. Me? You know you could have slept with anyone yesterday if you had just asked for it and stopped ogling every girl you see. Issei. Seriously? Me? Yeah. You guys were the MVP of yesterday match, and who would refuse you knowing you got the boosted gear and is part of Ria's peerage? After I said that, ignored his stunned face while walking up to my room after I took my bath and came downstairs. I walked up to Rias, who was playing chess with Akino, before saying me, Rias, I need help with learning magic. Rias, I can't really help you with that since we are devils and use devil magic, but since you are not a devil, it will be hard teaching you magic. Me? Is there anyone you think can help with it? Rias, Akino can help since she is really good at magic. I looked over at Akino, who was still angry at me, before saying, will you teach me how to use magic? She looked it away before saying, I can, but on one condition. I smiled and said, what would that be, Akino? You take me out on a real date. Me? No problem then, but on the condition, you teach me and the other guys together. Akino, I don't see any problem with that. Me? Rias, do you know where they are? Rias, they are outside enjoying the swimming pool. Me? I will go call them so that we can start. I walked up to where the guys were chatting and having fun before I said to them, fun times is over, guys. I got us a teacher for magic, so we will use the time we got to stay here to learn how to use magic, Shiro. But we can already use Senjutsu and Ouroboros. Why do we need magic? Me? Do you guys remember how we got to this place with a magic circle? AG? Yeah, that was scary and awesome at the same time. Me? If we learn how to use magic, we can make our own magic circle since I already got the knowledge on how to do it. I don't need to tell you the uses of the magic circle, right? Toshi, we can get to our customers faster and get more mission done. Also, since we will be getting more jobs from the underworld, the magic circle will make things easier. Me. Not only that, you can get faster with your training in Senjutsu. You all know that use Senjutsu breaks down the muscle and repair it, but there is a level when your muscles will be hard to break down with the Senjutsu, and that is where magic shows its advantage. There is gravity magic to put your body under strain while exercising. There is also the thunder and fire magic, which can be used to put the body under refinement. I told them body strengthening is where our advantage lies over other races because of our abilities to heal fast, so we won't worry about refining our bodies. If our bodies break while training, it will heal immediately, just that the process will hurt, but that will give an impenetrable body, which will be a nightmare for the others. Chapter 31. They all looked at me and said, we understand, boss. Me. Good, because we will soon be getting a lot of people coming after us. Shiro, why Toshi? I guess because they see us as a threat and want to get rid of us. Me. You all need to start thinking like Toshi, but he missed something. They may not want to get rid of us, but instead use us as a lab rat to see what they can find out about us. I told them that they need to get stronger because I won't always be with them whenever someone is sent after them, so they need to be capable of handling whatever is coming their way. Me? Come on. I don't want to keep our new teacher waiting. When we got to Akino, she was already looking pissed. I looked at her and said, I just had a small talk with them. She scoffed before telling us to sit down. Akino. Rias already told you that using devil magic is impossible since you aren't devils, but it is possible to use normal magic, but that is harder because there is a big difference between the two. Me? What difference is there? Akino, devil magic can be used with imagination while the normal magic can be used with knowledge. What that means is to use normal magic, you have to have a lot of knowledge about different types of magic. Devil magic limitation is imagination while normal magic limitation is knowledge. Toshi. I now understand why normal magic is hard because not everyone can get access to this knowledge about magic, but with devil magic, as long as you have the energy to support it, then you can do anything you want with your imagination. Me? Isn't that a bit overpowered? Akino. It is, but your imagination can be your downfall. An example is if you imagine something impossible like a black hole and expect it not to affect you or your surroundings. Also, the harder the things you imagine, the more energy it takes. Normal magic doesn't have that problem because if you know the knowledge about the black hole, you can put up a countermeasure against it, like, for example, a force field to keep you from getting sucked up too. Me? I think we got it, so how do we gather this magic energy? I tried it but felt nothing except the life energy around me. Akino. So you know Senjutsu? Me? Yes, we all do. Akino. Magic is different from Senjutsu. Close your eyes and I will let you know how magic energy feels, but before we start that, you have to know that everyone has an element they are comparable with, so when you start feeling magical energy, you will be feeling the element you are most close to. Me? Does that mean that I will only be able to use the element that I am good at? Akino. No. It means that it will be easier to use the element you are at while the others will be harder to use. Chapter 32. I nodded in understanding after she said that. I closed my eyes before being surrounded by what I assume is magical energy. I could feel that magic energy actually just appears out of thin air, unlike the life energy for Senjutsu. I can also see that I was surrounded by different colors, which I assume was the element. That was when I heard Akino say, if you see the different colors, try and see which one gives you a familiar feeling. I concentrated and felt a calling from the element before reaching out to it. I opened my eyes to see myself being surrounded lightning, and it was really make a loud noise until I drew it back inside me before looking around to see the guys all stunned and looking at me with a glistening eyes. Akino, it seems lightning is your element. Me, yeah, I also saw you using one. Does that mean that it is your element too? Akino, yeah, but mine is different because it is black lighting while yours is white. Me, the opposite of yours then. Akino, yeah. Me, can you help the others to find their own elements? Akino, no problem. Who wants to go first? Yami was the most excited, so he went first before the others. Yami also got the lightning element, but his was yellow-colored. Toshi awakened the fire element. Shiro got the earth element. Eiji got the water element, while Edo got the wind element. After everyone awakened their element, I asked Akino how we can train them. She said, Akino, you can only train them by connecting with your elements and gather more of it inside you. Also, the closer and the more you gather your element inside, the more powerful and easier it gets to use. Me. Why do we need knowledge then to be able to use magic, since all we need is to get closer to our element and absorb it? Akino, that is for your element, but you need knowledge on the other elements to be able to use them. It is also possible to gather other elements inside you, but to do that you have to force the element under you, and that's why it is hard, but with knowledge you know about that element and how to gather it to do what you want to do instead of forcing it. Me, okay, I think I understand what you mean. Akino, to make it easier, the knowledge is kinda like a spell you know to use a certain element. I thanked her and stood up before going to look for Surzex to ask him if we can use the libraries in their house. I found Surzex in his office with Grafia. I nodded to both of them before saying, I hope I wasn't interfering, Surzex. No, you weren't. Mind if I ask why you were looking for me? Me, I wanted to know if we can use your libraries. Surzex, why do you want to use it? You don't strike me as someone that likes reading. Me, I don't want to read either, but for me to use magic, I heard that I have to knowledge to do that. Surzex, ha ha ha. No problem, you can go on and so whatever you want. Grafia will lead you there. Me, I thank you, but I won't taking it for me. You can get one free service from me. Surzex, I will let you know then if I need something. I walked out of the room when I heard Grafia ask Surzex, Grafia, why did you let him owe you a favor? Surzex, he won't accept using the libraries if I didn't do that. Grafia, why Surzex? Because he is that type of person. I smiled when I heard him say that. Chapter 33. Grafia caught up to me and started leading me to her library. When we were walking, I could see that she wanted to say something but seems to be holding back before I looked at her and said, Me, do you have something to say, Miss Grafia? Grafia, I wanted to thank you for helping Rias with her problem. Me, you shouldn't be thanking me, and we were just doing the job we accepted. Grafia, I still want to thank you for it, but you aren't giving me the chance to. Me, you have already done enough with the payment and also allowing me to use the library. Grafia, you really don't want anything else then? I smiled at her and said, yes. She sighed and stopped talking to me until we reached the library and said, here we are. She opened the door and seeing how huge it makes me think, why is everything in this house big? She showed me around the library before stopping at a section and said, this section is where you can find the knowledge you need about magic. I thanked her before walking in to take a look. I picked one book up to read when I saw Grafia turning to leave before I stopped her and said, can you show my friends the way to the library? She laughed and said, no problem. I will leave you to your reading then. I went back to reading the book I found, which was called Magic for Beginners. I was reading the book when the others came in and saw what I was doing before going around to pick their own books to read. By the end of my reading, I could make a fireball, which quite easy. I almost thought that Akino was messing with me when she said it was going to be hard. I found out what they meant by knowledge is actually explaining and understanding the elements and their different characteristics. The way normal magic works is if I do this, then this will happen. I found it easy to understand because for me to create a fireball, I just had to feel the fire elements and gather it together in form of a ball to get it, but the downside is that it takes time to gather, so in a fight, I would be dead before forming on fireball. I shared my ideas with others and told them that we should focus on making connections with the other elements so it will be easier to gather and control them. I went out the next day to go find a forest where I can go into meditation. I figured that meditating while feeling the elements is the best way to connect with them. I felt that maybe the reason the other elements are hard to use is that they feel that you don't share the same characteristics as them, so meditating is the best way because you are free of thought, like you are empty, and do that will make the elements curious about you and less hostile. Seeing how empty you are, they would want to know more about you, and while they are doing that, it will be the best way to communicate with them while making connections with them. Chapter 34. While I was meditating, I could feel the curious elements trying to make a connection with me, but I did try to satisfy their curiosity and left them hanging. I could feel that when I ignored them, they were agitated and at the same time, they were confused, probably because it may be their first time trying to make a contact with someone on their own but get rejected. I didn't want to get the elements under forceful control, but to be able to use it like the benders in Avatar. In Avatar, the element benders are able to bend element without being forceful. That's why it was easy for them to use, else if they were forceful, it would take more time to get that element under control and bend it the way they want. I sat there meditating while more elements gather around me and try to make a connection, but they were all ignored until the red element couldn't take it anymore and willingly get absorbed inside me. I smiled when that happened because I could feel the elements wanting to do the same things as the fire elements, but I stopped them before they could get in contact with me. I concentrated my focus on the red elements around me before sending an invitation to them, which they accepted immediately before swarming around me while getting the other elements to battery away. More red elements started gathering around me and I let myself free, so they can do what they want since I have an idea in what they were about to do. It seems the red elements felt that I let them do what they want before they started rushing into my body, and if someone sees what is happening they think that I was the one absorbing them. When they red elements rushed into my body, they rushed to the place when my main elements were, and tried to take over it, but my main elements didn't give them the chance and counterattack. I didn't want my body to be a battlefield for the elements, so I helped my main elements to get the red one under control before they backed up and pick a place beside the main element before forming it one place. After the red element took its place, the red elements around me immediately rushed to the newly formed place and started getting larger before it was the size of the main elements and stopped. I woke up from my deep meditation before raising my left hand up to see it is surrounded with the fire. Seeing that, I smiled before retracting it inside and stood up before thinking that I should do this too with the other elements before focusing on my main elements, since I didn't want to be a jack of all trades without being good at one thing. The reason I need the other elements is that I thought it will be useful in some situations. Also, to be able to create a magic circle, I need the other elements, even if it isn't strong. I need those elements to create a magic circle for us. Chapter 35. I stood up from where I was meditating before walking back to the Grimoires mansion, and on my way back, I met some magical animals that helped me experiment with my new element, and I would say that my fire magic is now in the ultimate class level. When I got in front of the mansion, I saw someone who I wasn't expecting but got over it and smiled at the person before she walked over to me and said, "Isabella, I told you I would be visiting till you leave for the human world." Me, I don't see the reason for you to do that, but you can do whatever you want. Isabella, don't you enjoy my company? Me, never said, just can't find any reason for the effort you are putting in. Isabella, the reason is simple. I like you and want you to like me back. I raised an eyebrow when we said that before walking up to her face while letting out a bit of pressure on her and said, "To be my Luna, you have to be worthy of it. Besides, you aren't the only one after my heart." After saying that, I walked away while she was still stuck at the same place shivering. I walked into the mansion to see Shiro and the others standing there looking nervous, and I guess they heard the conversation with Isabella. I looked at them and said, "How was your training with the elements, Yami?" "It was easy with our own element, but hard with the others." Tochi, as he said, "Boss, it is really hard getting in contact with other elements, or even be able to use it." I smiled when I heard them say that before raising my hands up and summoned a fire on my palm and hand it dancing around my whole arm before cutting it off. The face of Yami and the others was priceless when they saw what I did before hearing Yami scream and said, "How did you do that, boss? I thought lightning is your main element." I laughed after seeing their expression before explaining to them my encounter with the element and how I think it differs from each person so that they won't get devastated when it doesn't work for them. I summoned the fire element again and had it floating in front of them before saying that it depends on your own enlightenment on how to communicate with these elements will enable you the use of it. I left them to contemplate or digest the information I gave them before going over to where Akino was, and when I got there, she was training really hard and you could see the determination in her eyes. I could guess what was going on in her mind, but pushed it out before calling out to her since she was so focused that she didn't even know I was there. "Me? Why are you training that hard and not having fun like Issei and the others?" Akino, "That's none of your business. Why are you here?" Me, "Oh, I came to show you my progress with the elements." I summoned the fire elements and I could see she was surprised but hid it away and said, "If you could get it so fast without the devil energy, then I wonder what will happen when can use the devil energy. Me, it can be that I'm just a genius." Akino, "Nothing good ever comes out of your mouth." Me, "I would leave you to your training then. I have to go take a shower and sleep." I was about to walk away when I heard her say, "I hope you haven't forgotten about the date you owe me." I smiled before moving to her face and kiss her before she could react and said, "No, I haven't, and this is what you should be looking forward to and maybe more." I laughed hard seeing her red face before walking away. Chapter 36. When I got into my room, I went straight for the bathroom while taking off my clothes when I heard the door to the bathroom open to see a beautiful, angry, naked Isabella standing there. I raised one of my eyebrows seeing her action, but she didn't let me talk before releasing all her magic pressure and focusing it on me while walking to my face. Feeling all the magic power coming from her, I didn't get flustered but kept looking at her when she got close to me and looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Who else do you think is going to be your Luna apart from me, Mr. Me? I don't know who, but she seems more determined than you. Isabella. I'm going to show you who is more determined and we'll see if she can do much better than I can." I opened my mouth to answer her, but she stole my lips and attacked me with her tongue, but I got excited from the challenge and attacked back. It was just a beastful sex moment after that where the other seeks to dominate over the other. I won at the end, which was as expected cause of my monstrous stamina, but I won't deny that hard. I wanted to warn myself from aggravating her again, but I shook my head and smiled because I like the challenge and won't find taking her on any time. We both took our bath to wash off the sweat while calling a maid to fix up the bathroom that looks like where two low devils fought. We were both laying on the bed with Isabella laying on my chest while I brush her, and she twirls her finger around my chest while looking deep in thought before it seems she made her decision and said, "Why don't you like her back and back down to let me win me? I can't because a woman that stays by my side needs to be worthy to bear the blood that flows in me, and it is quite a dominant blood if I should say." Isabella. So it's just about the blood. Me, not just the blood but an independent one. If it doesn't accept or find you worthy then it will rampage in your body and kill you. Isabella. Scary. So that's why you need a strong woman, me. Yes. Isabella. I will become one, but please don't scare me like you did last time. It hurts that you look down on me like that. Me. I just wanted to see how determined you are, but I do apologize for what I did. I kissed her after saying that, and got up from the bed to go eat since I'm hungry from the 2 exercises I did today. I got downstairs with Isabella while acting like we didn't see the way they were looking at us. When we got to the dining table, everyone was there, so we both found us a place to sit before hearing Issei say, "Issei, bro, you alright? I could hear a lot of sound coming from where you are." Rias. Issei, why don't you shut up and stop being a fool? Searchers. Mizuka-san. Can you tone it down because everyone could hear what was going on? Me. Don't you have any sound-canceling magic? Searchers. We do, but you both destroyed it during the act. Me. My bad. We'll see what we can do. The week went by fast with me, and the guys training in magic and Isabella coming over every time to keep me company. It's just one more day left before we get back to the human world, and that's why I will be fulfilling the dating promise with Aquino, because if I don't do it now, I won't have the time to do it when we get back to the human world.
Thanks for watching. If you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.